Let's talk about the Wajakoya effect, the so-called Wajakoya effect. We are talking about the two frontrunners, Raila Odinga and William Ruto. But then here comes this man with a lot of university degrees, and he seems to have marshaled a part of the Kenyan demographic. And what is your take on this so-called Wajakoya effect?
Thank you, Ben. Allow me to comment on what my learned counsel said, and partly what Joy has said, that there is a gradual shift from politics of the tribe to a politics of issues and policies and manifestos. Whereas I agree to a large extent, I am glad that he put a caveat and said that we may not be on that table yet, but that is the shift that is emerging. Even when these manifestos are pronounced, even when these policy issues are pronounced, we see an underlying ethnic mobilization even towards the alliances, so that you see, whereas you'll have Honorable Raila Odinga wanting to bring in the Martha Karua, why is it that he brought in Martha Karua and not any other person? Why is it that Honorable William Ruto will bring in Gachagua and not any other person? Why is it by coincidence that all the running mates are from central Kenya? It's not a coincidence. It's because the primary voting bloc still remains ethnicity. So yes, it is a good move, right, and we must give it to Kenya Kwanza for having drummed up the issue of bottom-up economics all along. Indeed, it is not the first. Honorable Raila Odinga has been talking about reform for the longest time he has lived in this country. But I agree with the two speakers, right, that yes, there is a gradual shift towards policy-based politics as opposed to having tribe as the center of it all. Now, allow me to say something about Professor Wajakoya. You know, Ben, in all descriptions, when you look at the economy, when you look at the state of politics, when you look at joblessness in this country, right, we are at our lowest. We are at our lowest. That unga is costing now 200 shillings per packet, we are at our lowest. In fact, the thing that has saved this regime is that there's no credible opposition today compared to the yesteryears. If there was a credible opposition today, the son of Jomo would not be sitting in the State House pretty as he does today. Now, when a nation is in distress, there is a tendency to emerge characters who target the lowest of the low in terms of mobilizing votes. Right. Now, Professor Wajakoya has come with a very interesting dimension to it. He believes that this thing the Luyas call Enasoli, Bangi, would be the silver bullet in turning around the fortunes of this nation. Now, when he promises Nasoli as the silver bullet, he's actually appealing to a certain demographic in this country. The sad thing is that it appeals to not only the adolescents and the youth, it appeals to those who may not even vote in 2022, right, and those are the children who are in school. The economic side, the examples he gives, he has done his research. Yes, there are countries where cannabis sativa is legalized. He says
he wants to use bang to sell, not to smoke.
Well, how you'll take it from your shamba and not smoke, I do not know.
No, it's the same way women brew changa to sell and not...
Thank you. So the whole regulatory framework around it is unacceptable. But the thing that worries me is, number one, that the seat of the presidency is supposed to bring dignity and honor to that office. Right. The president becomes the figure and the symbol of unity for the country. I'm not so sure that by preaching Enasoli, that unites the nation. It targets the youth, and when you're in a crisis, remember this youth, by the way, Ben, in 2017, they were given very lofty promises. Do you remember the story of the laptops? Do you remember the story of the 16 Stadia?
Yes.
So the youth are now saying that, look, we have been promised so much. This is practical, because every youth would identify with smoking bang.
Okay.
And if this is a drug that he can sell, why not? And so Professor is identifying the lowest of the low at the crisis point.
So the question is now, what is the effect, what is the net effect of that? And Kipchumba...
Allow me to finish the net effect. The net effect is this, and one must worry about it, that the demographic that he's targeting is actually the demographic that Honorable William Ruto was targeting. Honorable William Ruto's hustler, bottom-up economic model amazed the youth. And then, I don't know whether you've been in any rally, especially the city rallies. I've been in the city rallies. I don't know about the country rallies. But you can hardly go into a rally and fail to sniff bangi being smoked in that rally by the youth. Mm-hmm. And therefore, the risk is this. Right. Is it possible that given the low level we are in terms of the economy, could Professor Wajackoyah be appealing to the youth of this country, and therefore could that eat into the hustlers' demographic population, and therefore affect the final 50+1?
That is my question. That was my question to Kipchumba. What do you think? Is Wajackoyah now becoming a strong third horse and eating into the hustler nation?
Ben, as somebody noted when we began the discussion, the horses are already defined in this race. And as one, I think it was a newspaper in your sister company, the Nation newspaper, ran where Wajackoyah was seen carrying the horse himself.
Carrying a donkey.
Carrying the donkey himself. And he was part of the race, but the other two candidates have horses, and he's running with his donkey on top of his head. But back to the germane discussion here. I think there are few issues that as pundits and as political scholars we need to delve into as to why the Wajackoyah candidature is causing a lot of hot hair. Number one is that we need to encourage the Wajackoyahs. I know he comes out as a crude candidate. I have no issue with how he projects his issues. That is his right.
You're not worried.
I'm going there. I am going there. But why I will encourage such a candidate to come is because down the road, Dr. Alutalala will come and say, my candidature is built purely on devolution. He will speak to devolution and it will enlighten Kenyans. Tomorrow, Joy Mudiva will come with our candidature strongly on the tax issues. It will help us widen the base of civic education. But now when we come to the germane issues, number one, why the Wajackoyah ticket has caught traction is because over time, the political formation in this country has not changed. So that people want something new. And in that something new, you might not find it in either two camps. But here comes somebody who says something that nobody thought about it. And a friend of mine was telling me, Wajackoyah thinks as though the box doesn't exist. When the other two camps, people are thinking outside the box or thinking within the box. Wajackoyah has taken thinking as though there is no box in itself. So at the end of the day, this bubble might not last into the election day for a simple reason, Ben. An election from where we are, there is the getting out the vote. This is where now mental conditioning of the voter is done.
Right.
This is where now the subliminal messaging on the tribe and the fears of those selling the Muguruki and what have you is done. Wajackoyah will not get to that level. You know, in political science, we say that there are those stages.
Right.
By the time we get to protecting the vote, Wajackoyah will have fallen off. Because this thing of ganja and what have you does not find a holding in our formation for a simple reason. The reason is this. Our social fabric is made such that we meet either in a funeral, in a church, in a wedding or somewhere. So at the end of the day, where this thing of Wajackoyah can be said and the discussion can be enhanced is in these campus clubs or along Langata Road in those clubs. So what that portends is, and we reflect on the register. Recently, the status of the register was revealed.
Yes.
The youth are 36%. There are 5 million Kenyans who have not registered to be voters because the eligible people who can vote in this country are 27 million people. So with these 5 million people, are these the people Wajackoyah is attracting? But the other thing also, you need to ask yourself, the people who carried donkeys in the races before Wajackoyah, there was a Pius Muiru somewhere, there used to be
Abdu Badida.
Yes, there was Abdu Badida. And even
some people are saying that,
Martha Karua
that Wajackoyah is a more serious candidate.
No. Ben, there is something also I need to go also so that we help Kenyans as scholars when we come to this panel. There is the normal market forces. If today you are to make bang or marijuana to be legal, first of all, you will have destabilized the demand curve. So that the bank that you buy today, which is sold in the back street of Nairobi, it will be sold in the front street. You will be buying it outside Parliament. So
fair enough.
At the end of the day, that will have killed the idea that we can pay Chinese loans.